Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Ngobile Shabane and this is Nugget for Your Wallet, a place where we share pockets of tips and wisdom on personal finance. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I really believe that there is something that you're going to learn. In today's episode, we'll be looking at how to deal with debt, how to get rid of debt. I know I've been promising this video. It's not going to be just one video because there's so much to unpack in there, and I believe that there is so much learning and unlearning that we as people need to do. So in this episode we'll be looking at some ways that you can implement in your life in order to get rid of debt. I think the goal is for us to live a debt-free life. I think the golden rule is to avoid debt by all means. But the question is, if I'm already indebted, if I'm already finding myself overwhelmed with a lot of debt, what do I do? What steps do I need to take in order to ensure that I live a debt-free life? Before we start, there is a quotation that I would like to read from this book here, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. I recently finished reading this book, and gems and gems of truths and powerful quotations and powerful messages and points that I've learned from this book. It's a lot. Actually, I'm planning to do a separate video where I'll do a review of what is it that I've learned from this book. But I'll highly recommend it. But this is not the topic for today. But the quotation that I want to read in here, which I think really links to what we're talking about today, it says, doing well with money isn't necessarily about what you know. It's about how you behave. A behavior is hard to teach even to really smart people. So what he's saying is basically saying that how we behave and how we handle our money has a little less to do with what you know and more to do with how we behave. And this cannot be more true when it comes to debt. To say that we all know that debt is not, the best. We all know that the high interest rate that is linked to debt is what's making it very hard for you to get rid of. And we know that although they're saying first 3 months is free, they're saying that you're paying the minimum installment, we know that it's not for free. We know that we are being charged for it. And we know that it's not the best way to finance our assets, but we do it anyway. I'm not going to expand on where on the whole idea, good debt, bad debt. But what I really want to get into is, if you do find yourself in a situation where you are overwhelmed with debt, where you are no longer excited about payday because you know that the debit orders are just going to be going off from the minute the money hits your account, or you are that person who is now avoiding calls, taking calls from numbers that you don't know because you're worried that it might be one of your the credit providers who are wanting their money, or you are that person who on a monthly basis you are juggling and choosing that, okay, I'm gonna pay this person, I'm not gonna pay this person, because you do not have enough to basically service all your debt. So I am really talking to that kind of person today as to how then do we handle this situation that we really find ourselves into. As a departing point, I really believe that none of us want to be indebted. I really believe that we all want to live a debt-free life, but there are decisions and choices that we make that really stand between us and that end goal of living a debt-free life. And those decisions and choices include things such as unforeseen circumstances, maybe a debt in the family, someone dies and you need to finance that funeral, an accident, a medical bill. All those unforeseen circumstances can really make one to be indebted. Other things include things such as scams. People get scammed. Believe it or not, they get scammed by people they don't know and by people that they know. I know of people who ask other people to take loans on their behalf, and 3 months down the line, the person who you have taken loan on behalf is nowhere to be found, and you find yourself now being in a position where you have to then service this debt by yourself. Or sometimes it really can be a business gone wrong. You've taken out a loan or financing to basically venture into this particular business with the hope that it will basically be successful and you'll be able to service that debt based on the returns from that particular investment or that particular loan, and it has not gone according to plan. That can really lead you to be in a lot of debt. And also, the other thing which is more common is sometimes you're just wanting to keep up with your peers. You're just wanting to be, wanting to fit in. You don't want to be left behind to a point that you end up, taking loans, you end up opening store accounts and using credit card in order to maintain a certain lifestyle. Those are some of the things, decisions and life's happenings that lead us to have a lot of debt. In addition to all this, I think what has really contributed to a lot of South Africans in particular to have a lot of debt is easy access to credit. And nowadays it is so easy to open up a store account. Within a couple of hours you can have a store account with a credit limit of up to 5,000, 10,000, depending on obviously different factors that they consider. And also it is so easy to have access to a credit card, and the limits they are sometimes very high. In fact, I think a couple of weeks ago I got a call from my bank. They're asking if they can increase my limit on my credit card. I said no. Why do you want to increase my limit on my credit card? Because I saw that is just a way for them to keep me indebted. And once you have access to credit, it is easy for you to tap into it, so you rather not have it. So easy access to credit is really one of the contributing factors that is contributing to a lot of people to be in debt. A shocking stat that has been issued by the Reserve Bank is that an average South African is spending 75% of their disposable income on servicing debt. 75% of their disposable income on servicing debt. And this is quite a lot of money and a lot of percentage that we are using to service debt, which means that only like 25% is left for you to then, finance your living, your lifestyle, to pay for your groceries and other things. And you can see that already there. That is why a lot of people are finding it very hard to save and to invest, because at the end of the day they are left with nothing if they are left with anything at all. So then we're going to be looking now as to how to then really get out of debt if you have found yourself already in debt. In order to get out of debt, there are steps that you need to follow. I'll list some of them. The first one that I think is very important is for you to acknowledge that you are in debt, for you to be honest as to what led you to be in this position, and for you to also admit that this is not the right position to be in. These actions are very important because they will determine if you will be willing to make sacrifices in order for you to get out of that situation. If you don't see a problem with being in debt, you're never gonna get out of debt. If you think that debt is life, you're never gonna get out of debt, because that is basically what you are telling yourself. So you need to be very honest as to what led you to be in this position. Is it because of black tax? Maybe you're having to assist your family, you have to bail out your family. You need to be honest. Is it that? Or is it trying to please people and trying to keep up with a certain class? You need to be honest. Why are you in debt? And once you are honest, then you'll be able to take measures in order for you to stop getting into more debt. If you are a person who is a people's pleaser, you need to be in a position, or you need to accept that in order for you to get out of debt, you need to stop pleasing people. Because pleasing people majority of the time can come at your expense. And in this case, if you're already in debt, you can see that it is coming at your financial expense, and it is not worth it. If it is because you of black tax, you're having to bail out your siblings, or you're having to assist your family, you need to be honest with them and tell them that, you know what, I will not be able to finance everything. This is how much I can assist. And anything over and above that, I will not be able to assist with, because it is really keeping me in debt. And that might also involve maybe assisting them to be able to be financially independent. Maybe assisting them to be able to sell something so that they'll be able to support themselves, or encouraging them to get a piece job, or even to get like some sort of income, so that they're also able to finance their income. So it's very important to identify that you're in debt, identify the reason, and also be willing to make sacrifices in order for you to get out of debt. Once you have taken those actions, the next step is for you to stop taking more debt. You need to basically close the tap in order for you to deal with the water that is already on the floor. If you're trying to sweep the floor but the tap is still open, you're basically fighting a losing battle. So you need to stop taking more debt. That might include you basically taking your cards and giving it to someone that you trust, and basically be honest with that person and saying, you know what, I'm really trying to get out of debt, and please take my cards. So that might be some of the ways that you can implement in order for you to stop taking debt. You can have an accountability partner who's constantly going to check with you as to how you are doing, and if you are not taking any more debt. But more than anything, people can hold you accountable, but if you are not accountable to yourself, if you basically cannot keep a promise to yourself, it's going to be very hard for other people to keep you accountable, because they would find that one way or the other you have went back to your old habits and to your old actions of constantly using credit. So you need to close the tap. You need to stop taking more debt in order for you to be able to deal with the debts that you have. So if you, after you have done those first two steps, then we can then look at the strategy that will best suit you. You then need to choose a strategy that you're going to use in order for you to basically get rid of the debt that you have. There are different strategies, but I'll only look at about 3 of them that I would like for us to discuss in here. Before we go into the specific strategies, there are common actions that you need to take in all, independent of what strategy that you take. Firstly, you need to know the amount of debt that you have. You need to list out all the debts that you have. If you have a store accounts, you need to list all the store accounts that you have. If you have credit card, vehicle finance, home loan, mashonisa, you need to list all of them. Don't group them. If you have 3 store accounts, you need to list all of them. If you have a store account with Woolworths, Edgar's, and Fushini, you need to list all of them. And once you have listed all of the debt that you have, next to it, you need to list the amount that you are owing for each of those credits. List the amount that is outstanding for each of those ones, and this cannot be a guesswork. You need to know exactly how much you are owing for each one of them in order to know exactly the size of the elephant that we are dealing with. And once you basically have listed the amount that you are owing for each one of them, you need to then list the interest rate that gets charged for each of those debts. If a store account you're getting charged maybe 20% or 25%, you need to list that next to each and one of those debts. I'm gonna insert an example for you to see exactly what I'm saying. So you need to have the list of all the credit providers that you are owing, the amount that you are still owing for each one of them, and then the last column, you need to put the interest rate that is being charged for each and every one of those debts. Once you have done that, you will then have a clear picture of what you are dealing with, because sometimes it is easy to say, oh no, I'm owing 10,000, whereas it is 10,500. That 500 makes a difference. Or you're saying, you know what, I owe them, but I'm not sure how much. If you're not sure, then you don't know what you're dealing with, and the strategy that you're going to choose might not be best suited because you don't know exactly what you are dealing with. So it's very, very important that you have a clear picture of what you're doing with. This can be very uncomfortable, and you might say, you know, I don't know where to get that information. You can actually contact those credit providers and say, you know, I'm trying to deal with and to service my debt. Can you please tell me what is outstanding? They will gladly give you that information, and they will gladly tell you how much interest is being charged. So once you have done that, the next step is you need to find an extra 500 Rand from your income. I know already you're saying, you know what, I'm already in debt. Where am I going to get an extra 500 Rand? Doing a budget can really assist you to try and find an extra 500 Rand from your spending habits. This can be maybe cutting off takeaways, maybe decreasing the amount of money that you spend on data, airtime, because those can really, really add up. And if you can cut maybe on data and on airtime, you can have maybe save 200 Rand or save up to 500 Rand. Other people, they can save up to 1,000 Rand. Maybe cut out some subscription. These are sacrifices that you need to make. In order for you to get out of debt, it's not going to be easy. You need to be willing to make some sacrifices. And these are some of the sacrifices that you might need to make. Cutting takeaways, decreasing the amount of data and the spending on data, subscriptions, and even decreasing on buying luxury items, like even on your food items. A simple act as to maybe decreasing buying junk food or even store-bought juice, your 100% juice, you can save some money. So try and find an extra 500 Rand. If you really can't find an extra 500 Rand, try at least a 200 Rand, but there is some sort of extra money that you need to get and that you need to find in order for you to speed up the process of you getting out of debt. If you really say, you know what, I'm already living on a tight budget, I'm not buying any takeaways, my data is as minimum as it can be, I really can't cut on anything more. Then if you really can't cut on anything more, you need to get some sort of extra income. This can be in a form of maybe selling a product. We have stuff like Avon, there is selling of Tupperware. You can offer your services, but find a way to get an extra income. And that extra income can be as little as 500 Rand or 200 Rand, but I'll say start with the 500 Rand so that we can really speed up this process. So find an extra 500 Rand, because that is basically going to assist you to pay off your debts easily. So once you have listed all your debts, you have now that extra 500 Rand, then you can choose a strategy. The first strategy that you can use, if it best suits you, is what we call a snowball method. A snowball method basically requires you to say, okay, you have now all your debt. Now arrange your debt from the smallest debt to the largest debt. You're then gonna list your debt from the smallest to the largest. Once you have the smallest to the largest, and you know exactly how much you're gonna be needing to pay for each of your debt, you have to service all your debt. You need to pay minimum installment for all of your debt. Pay minimum installment for all of your debt, and then for the smallest debt, take the extra 500 Rand that you have and then put it in addition to your minimum payment for your smallest debt. So say your smallest debt is your store account and you're owing there 3,000 Rand and the monthly installment is 300 Rand. I'm just going to simplify it. Then take the extra 500 Rand that you have then found from your budget or that you have earned from your extra income, and then include it as part of your minimum payment. So minimum payment is 300 Rand plus the 500 Rand. So it means that you're going to be paying 800 Rand for that particular debt. If you pay then 800 Rand for that particular debt, that means that it will take you about 4 to 5 months to pay off that debt. Once you have paid off that debt, that means that you're going to have an extra 800 Rand that you can use to then pay off the next smallest debt. Where am I getting the 800 Rand? Remember, you were paying 300 Rand for your store accounts, and then that extra 500 Rand, that makes 800 Rand. Then you take that 800 Rand, you don't then start to say, oh, I have extra 500 Rand, let me do this and this. No. We are on a mission to get out of debt. Take that 800 Rand, use it to pay the next debt that is on your list. If the next debt that is on your list is a credit card that you owing 10,000 and the initial minimum payment was that you were paying was 500 Rand, you're still going to continue paying that 500 Rand. But in addition to that 500 Rand, you're gonna take that 800 Rand and you're gonna pay it off. That means that for then your credit for your credit card, you're now paying 1,300 Rand. And in that way, you're seeing that you're paying more than your minimum payment. And in that way, you will then be paying off that debt quickly. Maybe it will take you then maybe 5 to 6 months to pay off for that particular debt. Then once you pay that, then you pay for your next debt. You do that until you pay for all of your debts. So that's what we call a snowball method. I really like this method because you see the result quickly, because you're paying the smallest debt first, and then you're using that money to pay the next smallest debt. In that way, it is easy for you to see result in a couple of months. But that is the small snowball method that you can use. We're gonna end this video here. This is part 1 of dealing with debt. If I continue in this video, it's going to be too long and I don't want that. So please be on the lookout for part 2 of this video on dealing with debt. You don't want to miss it, because I'll be sharing in there more strategies onto how to deal with debt. It is very critical and important information that I'll be sharing in that video, so please make sure that you are in a lookout for that video. If you like this content thus far, please leave it a big thumbs up, leave a comment in the comment section, and if you have not subscribed, I please ask you to please subscribe. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to subscribe right now. Yes, have you done it? Thank you so much. Subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and so that you get notified whenever I upload the new video, so that you get notified when I upload part 2 of dealing with debt. And please share this video with other people so that they get to know of this information as well. The aim is to ensure that we are all equipped with the necessary information in order for us to make the best financial decisions, and in order for us to make our way to a financially free life. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye.